All right, guys. How's everybody doing? Oh, man. How's everybody doing this morning? It is Wednesday. All right, so watching RCII. Doesn't look terrible here. Keeping an eye on that one. Looking at AMD again. See what this one can do. It had a few nice bounces yesterday. Also watching GE. GE is gapping up some. MU, if you look at MU, you can see it's just been tanking here. Big gap down in pre-market for MU. We'll see what happens with that one. I'll watch the cannabis stocks as well: CRON, CGC, ACB, NBEV, and stuff like that. TLRY. Then we have JBL, which is gapping up from 22.21 to 24.40. Gonna keep an eye on that one. NIO moving a little bit as well, and so those are what I'm watching right now. Yeah, it's been a pretty slow few weeks for the small cap land, Luke. It's been a pretty slow market for small cap penny stocks for sure, man. I mean, they just haven't been moving like we're used to seeing, and so I mean, I don't typically trade them, but it's been a slow time for them for sure, man. I agree. A new company with big news. Let's see if I can remember what the name of that one is. You're talking about FNKO, right? Yeah, I've traded this one before. Not a great looking daily chart though. What's up, Kane? What's up, Greenhorn? MOBI. Oh. Yeah, I'm not trading. You could just do what I do, Luke. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying it's an option. Like I don't trade really small caps. I just trade anything. Like my sweet spot with stocks is between like $6 to $7 up to $20. So like really it's like $7 to $20 is my sweet spot. Like AMD, NIO, like they're not penny stocks, but they move a decent amount every day. And I can still trade MU, stuff like that, and cheaper stocks if they're tradable if I want to. So that's kind of what I do. What's up, Jim? Good morning, man. Tough to short in a bear trend. Isn't a bear trend a downward trend? And so you could essentially short in a downward trend. I don't know. I think if something has had too many red days in a row, I kind of want to stay away from it just because it may be overextended on the downside, if that's what you mean. But no, some of my best shorts have honestly been when these cannabis stocks have, like if you look at some of the cannabis stocks, some of my best shorts have been when these cannabis stocks were downtrending right around here. In October. I had a really good month of October for the most part, really good few weeks in there, and most of it was when I was just shorting on this downward trend here on the daily chart. Turtle Beach took a hit yesterday. Yeah, Luke. It's funny that you actually say that. Like yesterday's class was like we had class last night, and the topic of the class was it was a live back testing class where we were like actually live back testing certain strategies, and what we were back testing yesterday was bounces and fades on volatility ETFs like the TVIX and UVXY. Yeah, HEAR, it took a hit. It rebounds some right now. I don't know what it's going to do. We'll see. I think we actually tested UVXY yesterday, but it does very similar moves to TVIX too. But yeah, kind of a slow morning again. I mean, we have some movement in the higher cap stocks, but the cheap penny stocks aren't moving at all again. I mean, I guess that's to be expected, really. But yeah, look at MU here. I'll have to look up the news for this one, but MU really gapping down some. A lot of volume here. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. I mean, I appreciate it, Luke. Yeah, man. I mean, not necessarily, Luke. I mean, it all depends. Like, if a small cap stock, like this is when small cap stocks are beneficial. Like they don't do it as often as larger cap stocks, but like whatever a small cap stock, it's a very specific scenario when a small cap will fade off the VWAP nicely, and usually it's like you'll see a small cap stock kind of randomly gap up in a really overextended way. You know, say it gaps up 50 to 100%. You know, crazy volume and stuff like that, and then the following day or maybe the day after that, it just kind of retraces all of those gains and fills the gap. You know, whenever it fills the gap, a lot of the time it's fading right off of the VWAP and just completely filling the gap with a big percentage move back down. And so, you know, that's one of the conditions I look for with the fade, especially specifically with small cap stocks. It's just overextension. You know, I look at the daily chart. I look to see how much it's gapping, to see how extended it is. If it's really extended, you know, most of the time I would say these cheaper, terrible companies end up coming back down after gapping up because, like I said, they're terrible companies. Most of the time they're up on hype and they give back those gains. And so if you can catch them on the way down, a lot of times they're fading off of the VWAP most of the, you know, a decent amount of time. And so those are the opportunity times to really attack the small caps. Yeah, I mean, I'm scaling up at this point, Jim. It's a process. I'm not paying my bills with trading at all right now. But the reason most traders fail is because they use big sizing before they're really ready and end up just completely losing their entire account. And then a lot of times they'll say trading's rigged or it's impossible or whatever they want to say, and they just kind of quit. And so I'm just taking it slow. What's up, Peter? What's up, man? Thanks, Luke. Thanks, brother. What's up, Charts? What's up, Todd? I am pretty cool, man. I will say that. I am pretty cool. Keith, a lot of times I'll buy like I try to let the market settle down like within the first 5 minutes. I try to let the market settle down some, but anything after the first 5 minutes, I'm open to taking. You know, I don't really like to wait that long. Like I think letting the market calm down for 5 or so minutes is decent, but if it sets up beautifully, even within the first five, I'll probably still take it. It just depends. It depends on how good the setup looks. What's up, the best? Good morning, man. Yeah, I mean, regardless of what people want to say about the channel, you know what I mean? Regardless of what anybody wants to say. And I appreciate all the kind words if you say nice things about it, but the truth is that like we put all this stuff out here for free, Like we let people watch us trade every single day, and we actually show people everything. Like we show people our account balance, we show people our profit and loss, like our entire trade. Like when we get in, you can see the realized, unrealized gains and everything like that. And nobody else does that while they're live streaming. Nobody else does. I don't care what they say. And so, um, people hate on us. That's true, but they're ignoring that aspect of it, and then they're probably going follow somebody that hides everything. And so it's just kind of like, all right, man. If you're criticizing me but following somebody else that hides everything, you just seem a little hypocritical. But it's just the way the trading world is. We'll see what happens with MU here. I mean, it's a big gap down from 34.11 down to 31.75. It had to have some type of bad news. I was looking at AMD to see if it was affected by it because they're both microchip stocks. Um, but AMD is about break even right now in pre-market, and MU is down a ton. There you go, Clay. Yeah, if you're looking for good gaps this morning, you're probably not gonna find any. But I'll scroll up for you. Appreciate it, Luke. Yeah, man, my trade has been going well. Like it's weird. Like I get hate on the channel. People say you're not really profitable. You're not really profitable. You guys suck and all this other stuff. But it's like, come on now, man. If you watch me trade, if you seriously like, if somebody were to take all the wins I have and just copy every single trade I've made in the last month with 1,000 shares, they would be up like $1,500 in the last month. And so yeah, like my account is still kind of break even right now, but it's only because I'm using small sizing, and like that's why I'm scaling up. But like I said, if you were to copy every single one of my trades with 1,000 shares in the past month, you would be up over $1,000. And so it's like people can hate and pretend like I'm a bad trader, but my accuracy rate stays over 60%. um you know 100% expatriated. And like I was looking at my reports, like no, if you look at this, like this is my graph. I added yesterday's chart. Like this is my graph of the last 30 days. Like this is my gross profits in the last 30 days. And so, it's a pretty graph. I mean, I'll take it. It's you can look at it and say, well, you're only up $142. But that's mostly with 100 shares. All the way up until here, like 110, 120, that was with 100 shares. And so, like, if I would have used 1,000 shares, it would be 1,000 and it'd be like $1,300. And so I got to scale up to that. That's kind of my goal now. But regardless of where you set it, like even my month, like my accuracy rate was 61.5%. But like if you scroll back and look at in the past week, accuracy rate's been 66. If you go to a week before that, accuracy rate's been 73%. If you go a week before that, 76%. If you go before that, 77%. And so it's like my accuracy rate stays pretty high. This one I'm really proud of. Like if you look at this, the average hold time for a winning trade is 26 minutes. Average hold time for a losing trade is 3 minutes. Super proud of that one. That's a good stat right there. But we'll look up MU in a minute and see what we get here. Yeah, I've been doing pretty good on puts. Yeah, I mean, right, yes, sir. Did he sign the farm bill, John? He did? Did he sign the farm bill? Did he really? Because that's game changing if he did. I hope he did. You know? I mean, I think. I think he has to. I think he has to sign it. I think he's going to get too much pressure, and he's going to look really bad if he doesn't sign the farm bill at this point. Let me look it up. No, he didn't sign it yet. He didn't actually sign it. Not yet. Yeah, I'm reading a press release that says lawmakers expect him to sign it Thursday, so tomorrow, even though it excludes Republican priority supported, such as changes to food stamps, is what it says. I look at TVIX. TVIX is just a volatility ETF. A lot of times it does what the SPY, the opposite of what the SPY does, right? And so like when you see the TVIX and you look at the SPY, it's kind of the opposite. A little bit different, but for the most part, it's kind of it's the opposite. Um, these are volatility ETFs, and so the more volatility, like if you look at the previous days, when the SPY is down, the TVIX and UVXY are up, right? And then if you look at it, when the SPY is continuing to pull down, the TVIX and UVXY are going to be running up. You know, so like if you look at the SPY and this, they're opposites on the daily chart. Not perfect opposites, but pretty close. And so with the TVIX, it just depends on what the SPY does today. You know, if the SPY rebounds, then the TVIX and UVXY are probably going to drop. Yeah, I mean, the farm bill, it just depends, man. Like, it, I think it's a good bill. I think that hemp is a better paper product than actual wood paper is. And so I think that the paper companies aren't going to go down without a fight, though, and I feel like they're the biggest opponents to it, obviously, because they're going to lose out on tons of money with this farm bill. And that's why I said, like, he has to sign it because he's going to get so much pressure, and he's going to look terrible if he doesn't. But I'm sure he's getting pressure from both sides right now. ADIL shooting up. SQQQ is inverse bear. Yeah, just doing the opposite of what the SPY does, huh? Right. ADIO. Yeah, ADIO is spiking up some. See what the volume looks like. The volume's not that bad, you know. ADIO, I'll watch it. I'm looking at GE as well. Look at GE here. I mean, it's moving some. It had a few nice little bounces yesterday, and it's moving some. Also going to be looking at Cron, CRON, CZR. Just popped up on my scanner. That's not moving really. DGAZ. UCO. It's ProShares ETF Bloomberg. Is that what it is? COLD or KOLD. Alternative ETF company ProShares. A lot of ETFs moving. Probably just from the volatility the overall market's been in the last few days with the big drops we've been getting. But we also have RCII, which is Rent-A-Center. It's still up some. WPM has been kind of going crazy here. It's almost up to $20. We'll see what we get. ADIO. Yeah. It's a very tiny float for that one. Tiny float for that one for sure. Of course, Luke. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the goal, bro. I mean, that's what I've been shooting for. I'm almost there too. Like I can feel it in my trading, you know. Like my trading's definitely consistently profitable at this point. It's just about scaling up and sizing to take enough gains out of the market. What's up, Sean? Good morning, man. I'm gonna look at WPM. It looks extended on the daily chart, but it keeps going up. And so we'll see if we I guess it found support here at 1850s where it had resistance here and support here. Still looking at it to give it back one day. Alright, guys. Let's see what else we get. We can go ahead and look the news up for some of these. I'll be right back in like a minute, but after I get back, we'll look up the news. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, you can see like I back tested yesterday some in class. I'm gonna have to continue doing it, but But these were my results when I was back testing. Yeah, it's an overseas broker like SureTrader. But no, these are my results from back testing fades and bounces off of these volatility ETFs like the TVIX and UVXY. And so you can see, really, it only gave me a 53% accuracy rate in the last 2 weeks for fades and bounces off of volatility ETFs. The good news with this is that the conditions, whenever the conditions were right for these fades and bounces, it was much better. So for instance, if you look at, what did I look at yesterday? I think it was TVIX maybe or UVXY. I think it may have been UVXY that I looked at. Yeah, it was UVXY. So like if you look at if the stock confirms it once, so like it was kind of struggling to maintain the intraday upward trend, it confirmed it here, it bounced really nicely the second time. Same thing here, it confirmed the downward trend here, faded really nicely off the VWAP. You know, didn't really pick away, but once it confirmed it here, it bounced over and over and over again. And so once it gives you that confirmation in it, it works a lot better. But overall, just if you look at every single time it got to the VWAP and faded or bounced, it had a 53% accuracy rate. So not great, really. Yeah, I'm in Houston as well. Dude, how many people does it say is watching on you guys' end? Because mine is like going weird. It's going from like 90 to like 160 down to like it's just weird right now. Yeah, I'm in Houston. I'm not in Houston. I'm in the Houston area. Okay. Yeah, at least it says the same with me. All right. I mean, I had to move out of Houston to be honest. Like, I like Houston. Don't get me wrong. Like, like I like Houston. I really enjoy it. Um, but I had to move out. Yeah, right. You saw that, Sean? It like morphed, and look, now it's back down to 136. It's being weird right now. Um, See, look, and now it's back down to 113. It's being strange. I like Houston. Don't get me wrong, but it's just too crowded, and angry drivers and traffic. I had to move out of Houston. I lived in Houston for like 8 years, 7 years, but I had to get out of there, man. Houston or Tampa, Florida? I mean, I'm a little bit more biased towards the beach, you know. If Tampa is the beach, I don't know if it is or not, but I guess I'm a little bit more biased towards it. Yeah, for sure, Andrew. All right, so let's see what main watches today. I don't know. I mean, it's another kind of slow day. ADIL, I'll watch that one. GE, AMD. Look at TLRY. It's a cannabis stock. It's still up a ton here. A lot of ETFs moving. JBL maybe. We can look up some news though. Yeah, the economy's good in Texas. I will say that. What's up, Eric? Good morning, man. I will say that. Like the economy's pretty decent. I hate the political machine here in Texas, though. I really do. It's ridiculous here. All right, so let's look up some of these moves. First one we can look up is JBL here. JBL. All right, so their revenue beat these, and their revenue and EPS in the first quarter beat the expectations. Its quarter two revenue was above estimates as well. So JBL up on good revenue. Also, we can look at ADIL here, see why ADIL is doing what it's doing. I don't really see anything new on ADL. I think this one is just one of those low float stocks that's just getting run up here. We can look at MU. MU gap down. It's starting to fill some of that gap. I appreciate the sub, Mustafa. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I think MU is down off after earnings, is what it looks like. They put out a few releases, but I think it's down on bad earnings for MU. Not really seeing anything to read off of that one, though. Looking at some of the cannabis stocks, we'll see where they can go today, like CRON, CGC, NBEV, ACB. So we'll see what we get with some of those. RCII up, I think probably good earnings for Rent-A-Center. It's actually tradable now for us. Okay, so it wasn't earnings. B. Riley said termination of Vintage merger is quote unquote invalid. B. Riley Financial Inc. said it supports Vintage Capital's management of Rent-A-Center and its position that Rent-A-Center purported termination of its merger with Vintage is invalid. Interesting here. We'll see where RCII goes. MIO, not really any volume. SSL, not really any volume either. That's really what I see right now. I'm not seeing too much. Kind of a dull week so far, but it's been a pretty good week. All right, it's telling me I have 13 people in here. That can't be accurate. Do we have more than 13 people in here? I think we probably do. It's been like bouncing back and forth between like 100 and something and 90. Yeah, I don't know what it's saying, man. It's weird. Yeah, you see how it's moving like that, man? I don't know what it's doing, man. Yeah. Yeah, like no, it literally is going, it's acting very strange. But like more than yeah. Yeah, maybe so. No, I mean, listen, I'm not worried about viewers. I've just noticed it's being a little weird. Like, typically we get anywhere from, like, I don't know, like, on average, we get about 180 to 220 people here every day, sometimes more, sometimes less. And so, what's up, Richard? Thoughts on AMD? I mean, AMD. I'm watching this one. It's been in a little bit of a downward trend. It kind of broke down. I'm looking to look for a potential short. It had a green day yesterday, and so we'll see. I mean, MU's down a lot. I don't know if it's going to play off of sympathy or what with MU, but I'm gonna watch it for a potential short. Well, no, it's not that enduro. Like I guarantee we have more people than it's showing here. I think it has something to do with just the uh, the actual counter today. WLL popping up on my scanners too. See what the overall SPY does today. ACB dropping. Yeah, it's acted weird. I mean, it's not. I think it has something to do with the counter today. It's just an error or something on the counter. Yeah, for sure. It's a long going MU. What's up, Bamboo? What's up, man? Javier. JNUG. It's an ETF, right? Yeah, big day yesterday. What kind of ETF is JNUG? Is it a gold ETF? It seems like it is. It seems like it would be a gold ETF, yeah. What's up, Danny? Let's look it up. JNUG. Yeah, it's a gold ETF. It sounded like one. If it has NUG in the name, I'm thinking it's gold. All right, guys, we got 1 minute left until the open, so good luck. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. Ah, that's right. Appreciate it, Zimmy. Now let's get the intraday scanners up here. All right, guys. We have about 2 seconds. There's the bell. Good luck, everybody. All right, guys. We got AMD. Big drop on AMD right out the gate. Big drop. We have. Let's see what else we get. There you go, brother. Why'd you time out expatriated, Mitch? I don't know, Mitch, I don't know if you're doing that by accident, but... Oh, come on, man. Expatriate is a long-time member, Mitch. You know, you can unban him, bro. Come on. He just wanted me to check it. I get it. And really, I'm looking at it. It's pushing up. What was the other one, though? DGAZ? AMD spike it up here. Looks like maybe a washout long. It's starting to run. Yeah, man. Weird bounce for sure. Big bounce. Up to 1960 here. Usually when AMD does this, it bounces off the VWAP. So, like, let's look for it to come down to 1940. Bounce off of that. You could use 1930 maybe as your risk. But yeah, I don't think Expatriated was spamming. I think I just missed his first few comments, and so he just put it so I would see it, is what I think he was doing. I don't think he was spamming at all. I think he was just trying to get me to acknowledge that comment, which I understand because I missed it the first time. ACB spiking up, Cron spiking up, cannabis stock spiking up. Yeah, so now it's telling me I have 9 people in here. Do we have more than 9 people in here? I think so. RIOT. Yeah. Yeah, there's something up with the counter today. I've never seen it act like this, so it's acting kind of weird. It looks like I'm looking at other people's streams and it's doing it with them too, and so it looks like that's just kind of it's acting very strange today. Yeah. It's not just me though. Like I'm looking at other streams and it's doing it with them too, and so it must just be the counter today for some reason, acting like that. NBEV, we got a red to green move here, breaking over 635. I'm watching AMD. Like I said, I could see a bounce here if it pulls back to 1950 or so. I could see a bounce with either. I guess you could do 1940 as risk for 10 cents or so. 38.40 as risk. A lot of times when AMD does this, it bounces. So I think a lot of people buy it on the dip here, so they could either buy it here at 1955 or at 1950 or so. It happens a lot, really. Nice people. Congrats, brother. Hey, buddy. Ask your mom, okay? Here, I'll get it, buddy. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys. Jason, that was UVXY. UVXY. All right, so let's see if I'm right with AMD. I'm not going to take it. I'm trying to stick to fades so I can really be a little consistent, but let's see if it works. I got to go. Hold on. I got to get my son something. All right, it looks like maybe I was wrong with AMD. Typically, when this happens, it bounces, but maybe I was wrong. Glad I didn't take it. Weird move for AMD. All the way up there, completely failed that, came back down. So yeah, I was wrong with that one. I appreciate the sub, Lucky. Welcome. Appreciate it. You're going to long on AMD today? Yeah, it still hasn't decided which direction to head. I have no idea. I mean, the SPY rebounded some after having another red day yesterday. We'll see where it goes. Like, looking at the daily chart, it's still kind of in this little channel, but it actually broke through. And so if it bounces here at 252, let's see if it runs in resistance at 258 or so for the SPY. Of course, Lucky, no stress. Yeah, I think it was UVXY, the one we did yesterday. Yeah, it was UVXY, Jason. No, I don't think it was UVX. I guess it was UVXY. Let me look. Yeah, I guess it was UVXY. It was either UVXY or TVIX. They're both volatility ETFs. All right, so DTSS is popping up on the scanners here. I don't really see too much else I really like, to be honest. I don't see much else that looks good for my specific strategy. Maybe WLL. If WLL can pull back here to the VWAP, I don't hate it. Risk of, I don't know, 45 or so. 50 probably. Let's look at the risk to reward though. So from 20 to 50 would be 30 cents. And from 20 down to 70, 23.70 would be 50 cents. And so it's pretty good risk reward. I don't hate it. I think 44 would give me a little bit better risk. Nice, Andrew. Congrats, brother. That's the way to do it, man. I appreciate the sub, super. Welcome, appreciate it. Yeah, it says we have 2 people here, but I know we have more than that. Because that would mean just me and one other person is watching. But yeah, congrats, MU. Or congrats, Andrew. Hey, appreciate the $1.99 donation, Andrew. Appreciate it, brother. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's right, Netron. Now we have three people in here. What's up, Andrew? Nice job, brother. Well, we got multiple Andrews in here. AMD maybe a VWAP rejection here. I guess you could probably use this 1950 area as your risk, giving you about a 10-cent risk. Reward level down at 1920, giving you about 20-cent reward. So it's 2-1. It already followed through some, though. A little bit late for the entry for that VWAP rejection. A little bit late for it. Now, I don't hate WLL if it gets up to 2410 with a 2425 as a risk level. Beautiful rejection here for AMD. This is the rejection I was talking about. It had a pretty tight risk up here at 1950 or so, for about a 10-cent risk, big reward. You could even use maybe 1950. Beautiful follow through there. Now the next step in it is to see if it washes out. I'm not going to take it unless it like breaks this low of the day here and then continues to like drop and then pulls back to the VWAP. And if it does that, I can use this high right here as my risk. And so I've seen those type of trades lots of times on it. And so that's what I'm looking at now. Yeah, now we got one person in here. Yeah, GE just completely gave it back. Crazy. Uh-oh, DPW popping up on the scanners here. DPW. Little penny stock. Crypto blockchain related stock or so. On which one, two-way? ADIO? Hey, appreciate the $2 dono, Sean. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to Sean with the $2 dono. NBEV, VWAP bounce. Yeah, some of the cannabis stocks, I could see those. Small range on NBEV, but I like the bounce. I like the move. You know, get in at the VWAP, set a risk of, 32 maybe. Like I said, tight range. But, you know, you could set a reward level of at least 45. Yeah, no stress, Sean. I'm telling you, man, the strategy I use, it is the single most reliable strategy I've ever traded. You know, it is the single most reliable strategy, like 100%. Like out of all the strategies I've back tested, it's been the most accurate. You know, and so it works, man. You know, I'm sure it's not going to work forever, but while it's still working, I mean, you'd be crazy not to take advantage of it. You know, even here, NBEV VWAP bouncing got up to 645 already, so that would have already been a successful bounce that followed through all the way up there. Now at this point, it's just about whether it actually breaks here or not. Jeremy, when I backtest, like I define a success and failure point, and then go back in time and just look at how many times it was successful, how many times it failed. Look at the conditions that were there when it was successful and the conditions that were there when it failed, and then kind of just tally it all up. You know, like really quickly, I'm trying to focus on the market, but if you like, here's my back testing results. We actually had a class on it, on just back testing in general. We were back testing fades and bounces on volatility ETFs like the TVIX and UVXY. And, you know, they didn't have such a good result. They had 53% accuracy rate. Conditions, though, like when it confirms off of the VWAP, when it confirms the trend, like when it confirms off of that level once, it typically is a little bit more reliable. And so I could just kind of tally it up with success and failures. This is only 2 weeks though. Really for back testing, I like to get at least like a few months, but it's time consuming for sure. But yeah, beautiful follow through there, Eddie with NBEV. Hope you got that one, brother. Looked good. No stress. No stress, Eddie. MU. Bull flag. I see a little mini one there, kind of. Like, let's see if we can draw it out. I gotta keep watching AMD though, because that's the move I said I was looking for with AMD, is that if it kept dropping and then pulled back to the VWAP, I could use that previous flag as my risk and it still would set up nicely there at 44 if it did make that move. Yeah, I missed the flag here, but I saw it coming. Alright, so at this point, I'm looking at AMD. If it could pull back to 1935, I can set a risk of this previous flag here at 1944 or so. At the same time, though, if it does get up there, I'm kind of tempted to just use 1950 because I think that's a safer risk area. 15-cent risk, what would be the reward if I did that? 25-cent reward. Not as good. I gotta make my decision on AMD, what I want to set as my risk before I get in the trade. I can either do 50 or 35. 50 is going to probably be a little bit safer, but it is going to be worse risk reward in that trade. 45 is going to be better risk reward, but I think a lot of times it's going to pull back and test the $0.50. I'm indecisive right now on where I want to set my risk with AMD if it does do that. What's up, Huguetes? Good morning, brother. Yeah, I mean, I like this, honestly. I like this 44 risk because I like it because it was the high of the first candle. It confirmed it here. And really, if AMD breaks this level here, I really don't like it because it's going to be putting in a higher high. And so I like the 44 risk in that one. So yeah, look at NBEV go. Beautiful bounce there, Eddie. I don't know if AMD is going to give me that entry. We'll see. WLL was another one I was watching for that fade. It's kind of getting up there. I don't know how good the risk reward is going to be. I mean, at 24 entry risk of 24.23 doesn't look terrible. Reward level would be down at 23.60, so about a 40-cent reward to a 23-cent risk. So not terrible, almost 2-to-1 for WLL. The only problem is that if it breaks this level here, it looks a little bit stronger. AMD never gave me that entry. I like the risk reward though in that one. Yeah, ADIL is just a little choppy for me. But that flag followed through nicely. Whoever called out that flag on MU. Look at that follow through. Hey, green's green, brother. Green's green, man. Beautiful follow through for NBEV, getting a big spike up here. ACB is kind of the outlier today. All the other cannabis stocks, a lot of them are pushing up. But ACB is kind of choppy. SPY's running up, looking pretty strong today, really. Yeah, you have to follow the PDT rule, Jason. Is that what it is? All right, so still watching AMD here. If it gets up to 33, set a risk at 44, giving me about 11-cent risk with a 25-cent reward or so, or maybe a 20, just about 20-cent reward actually. But I don't mind using this level as my risk because it confirmed it. Nice, Keith. Good job, brother. He means futures contracts, Jason. Yeah, I mean, there's no PDT rule or anything like that with Forex. The reason I don't trade Forex is because I literally think I would trade all day. The market for Forex never closes. And so I love trading and everything. And I probably would be staying up all night trading if I could. And so I try to stay away from Forex just for that reason. Plus, I don't really know enough about it. MRIN popping up on the scanners again. MU running up really nicely here. Following kind of the SPY overall. But yeah, MRIN spiking up here. Up to 420. WLL's at the VWAP here. It looks pretty good. Like I said, risk reward. It's not terrible. It's not the greatest either, though. AMD spiking up here. Never quite got up to 32. It's up to 25, 26, 27. I just don't know if it's going to get to that level. I'm watching it closely here for AMD. Risk is about 12 cents or so if it gets up to 32. 10 or 12 cents. The goal is the low of the day, though. We'll see if we get it. Yeah, buddy. Ask your mom, buddy. Okay? All right, hold on. All right, I am in AMD with 200 shares here. Seeing if it gives me that move. Got up to 32. We'll see what happens here. I don't really mind adding another 100 here to see if it fades nicely. Like I said, risk is about 44 or so. And so I added another 100. I'm in with 300 shares. Let's see if we get that fade or not. I don't hate it. Looks decent. Just about whether it holds its resistance. Got to scale up though, so I'm taking it with 300 shares. We'll see what we get. Down to 30. I like that confirmation in that level there. Yeah, maybe a little risky to short this AMD with the market up so much today, but we'll see what we get. Down to 33. All I can really do is hold it to my levels. That's something we always talk about. I gave myself the levels before we entered the trade, and so now all I can really do is hold it to those levels and just hope they work out, you know. What's up, crypto? What's up, brother? Up to 37s. Squeezing up here. I'm still going to give it time and just let it get to my level of about 44, 45 or so. I think it's a reasonable level. And so all I can do is let it work. It's up to 40, 41. Kind of confirm that level. Hopefully it holds, but I'm going to let it work. 41, 42. Got to be careful here. Squeezing up pretty big. 43s, 44s. Probably going to test this $half here, but if it breaks here, I got to get out. Getting pretty close to stopping me out here. Down to 40s, 39s. It's what I wanted to see. It confirmed it. Now let's see if it actually washes out for me here. Down to 37, 36, 35. All right, so we'll see if we get this washout here. It confirmed my risk level really nicely, and that is kind of what I want to see. Now it's very easy to stay in this trade. I can just follow the level I gave myself, which is 44. And it's crazy how it does that, where the risk level I gave myself, it goes right up to it and touches it and then comes back down. And so we'll see what happens here. Now, definitely, if it breaks that level, it's time for me to get out the trade. And just a really easy trade to follow now. Like I said, ideally, we want to see that level hold, but super easy trade now. Regardless of what happens, really easy trade to follow. Back down to 37s. Yeah, that's kind of what I said because that it may be a little risky shorting it with the SPY doing like it is today. But I like my risk area. It confirmed my risk area, and so we'll see if it follows through. All right, here's where I gotta be careful. Still struggling to break. 40. It's got a big top there. We'll see if it continues to hold. 41. 42s, 43s. Got to be careful here. It's squeezed up on me. I'm just going to let it test 50. Maybe this is a mistake by me, but I should have gotten out. Yeah, 100%. I'm being stubborn with it. I don't want to get squeezed up over 50, so I'm just going to get out there. $55 loss. Not what I wanted to see today, but I took the shot with bigger sizing and I didn't want to get squeezed out. My mistake here is that I held it past my level, which was 44. A little risky holding it when the SPY's going up today, but no stress. I had 2 winning trades earlier this week, and so really it's about break even this week. Yep, 100% Zimmy. It's how it goes sometimes, man. I'm just trying to focus on using bigger sizing, and I understand that like when I use bigger sizing, I'm gonna take bigger losses. The biggest mistake I've seen in my trading, if I'm kind of analyzing it, is that I am using small sizing for my winners and bigger sizing for my losers, right? So like both winners yesterday and the day before with 200 shares, and then this one was 300. And so I just got to get used to using bigger sizing and taking those swings. Yeah, it looked like a good fade here. Like I said, it was kind of the plan I had all day, which was use this resistance as my risk of this 44, and I just held it a little bit too long. I held it about 5 cents too long. My exit was good, though. I didn't want to get caught in this squeeze up. And I mean, you could say, like I said, it may be a little risky shorting it with the SPY pushing up like this, but really, like if you look at it, it started to turn into a bearish trend even with the SPY up, and so I thought it may maintain this bearish trend, but it's kind of been a choppy day. As you can see, it drops and then bounces back, and so no stress. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's been a pretty good few, month or two, and so losing days are going to happen. Honestly, this loss is a little bit bigger than I would have preferred, but it's to be expected to a certain extent. At this point in my trading, I'm just trying to focus on using bigger sizing. Like that's what I have to do. Even if I take bigger losses at first, even if it takes me a few weeks to kind of get accustomed to using bigger sizing. The way my trading's been lately, it's time to use bigger sizing for sure. And if it's a transitional period at first, that's okay. You know. All right, yeah, Keith. Hey, man, don't no spamming in the chat, brother. So that was my risk level, Jordan. So like my risk level in this trade was my entry was around 32. My risk level was at 44, and it confirmed my risk level nice. It looked good for a minute, but it ended up squeezing up. No, you're good. I'm just glad I didn't hold it through this and talk myself into letting it squeeze. Made the mistake of holding it a little bit too long, and yeah, it definitely backfired on me. But no stress. Like I said, it's about a break-even week so far after the two winning trades I had yesterday and the day before. So not the end of the world. MU? No, sir, Aries. I'm not doing that, man. I'm probably done for the day. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm probably done for the day. MU just had a flag breakout here. And definitely some green on the day for MU. Yeah, 100%, man. Like that's one of the rules I give myself is that I can only trade a certain amount of times each day. You know, like I limit the amount of trades I can take each day because if I don't, then I'll do what Aries and everybody was saying, which is like just force trade after force trade. I'll jump in trades. I'll revenge trade. I'll take twice the sizing, trying to win back losses, and it just doesn't work. And so, one of the rules I give myself is just I can only trade 2-3 times a day max. All right, Eddie. Have a good day, brother. And I think part of it with AMD is that I just didn't see anything else that looked good for the fade. Like AMD is kind of the only one that did fade, and so or that set up for the fade. And so I think it being kind of shallow with fades today, maybe that's why I took it. I don't think it was a terrible trade if I would have stuck to my levels. If I would have stuck to my levels, it would have been about a $35 loss, $36 loss, and so it wouldn't have been bad. Let it go a little bit too long though. My strategy is with. Let me find an example of my strategy. I mean, yeah, I mean, I use support and resistance as you should in most technical analysis strategies. Let me see. This is my strategy. So my strategy is look for a bearish move at the open. Like you can see AMD here, look for a bearish move at the open, like a downward move. Look for a pullback to the VWAP. Get in short at the VWAP using a previous low as resistance, which probably would have been here, as my risk. And then set the previous low of the day as my reward, giving myself positive risk reward in the trade. So like even with AMD, right, like it would have the risk was about 10 cents, 15 cents. I lost about 20 cents risk, but the reward level was all the way down here at 1910. So it really was about a 25-cent reward level. So even though I lost on this trade, if it would have worked out down to my reward level, it would have been like a $75 gain. And so didn't work out this time. I'll compensate for it with the next winner. It'll be fun. And this, but the only other one I kind of see, I'm probably not going to take another trade today, to be honest. But if Kron gets up to 1163, you could set a risk of 1173 for 10 cents, basing it off of this resistance here as your risk. Your reward level could be down here at 1143. And so you got a 10-cent risk from 63 to 73, and you got a 20-cent reward from 63 to 43. So that doesn't look terrible. Right, that's what it is, drive drum. That's about exactly what it is. And so after fees and everything, it's about 0.0075 cents a share. Let's see what UVXY did here. This was a good fade. Risk of this level. Plus the SPY's down. Or the SPY's up today. And so now it's just about if UVXY gets up to 69.90, where can I set a risk? I could set a risk of 720. 70.20. That gives me about what? 36-cent risk. Reward level down to 69, so that gives me about an 85-cent reward. Not terrible. Better than 2 to 1. It's just about whether it actually gets up there or not. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Enduro, like, the thing about it is, like, I was explaining this to somebody else as well. Like, my trading in this last week has been a little bit more nerve-wracking for me. Just because I've been scaling up, right? And it's like, I've used a certain share size for a while now, and when I'm finally scaling up, it kind of, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking for sure. It's a little bit. I'm definitely a little bit more anxious in my trades in the last week or two, and it's just because I'm scaling up in sizing, and it's just something I have to get used to. And so it's like, with that said, it's like I know in the process of scaling up, like I'm doing, I'm going to be a little bit more nervous in my trades because I'm using bigger sizing than I typically do. I know I'll probably make some mistakes, take bigger losses than I'm used to. But in the grand scheme of things, within the strategy and relative to the share sizing I'm using, the losses aren't big in a broader sense. Like $55 loss, yeah, it's big for me. But with bigger sizing, it's not big at all. You know, with 300 shares, it's not big at all. It's just about a 15-cent loss with 300 shares. And so, you know, while it is a bigger loss than I'm used to, it's not big relative to the sizing I'm going to be using. And so it's just about scaling up, getting comfortable with the bigger sizing, and that's just going to take conditioning. That's just going to take me having to use it over and over and over again until I'm comfortable with it. And it's a process. Yeah, for sure, Enduro. No stress, brother. Appreciate it, man. NBEV bounced off the VWAP again there, man. Days like today, I need to take bounces for sure. I can also see kind of ACB here. It's at the VWAP. I mean, you can set a really tight risk of like 54 or so, but I'm probably not going to trade. What's up, Joel? And yeah, WL, the other stock I was looking for a fade, didn't work out either. And so I think today's just one of those days where it's just not good for a fade. There's just not that many good opportunities. Like, this is the risk I gave myself. It would have confirmed it, but probably would have gotten out of it. Like I said, I'm kind of looking at Cron. The only one I might consider taking is CRON. If it gets up to 62, I could set a risk of 72, 73, 10 cents. Reward level down to 42, 43 for a 20-cent reward. So 2 to 1. Entry would be here at 62. Risk would be here at 72. Reward would be here at 42. And so big reward. This would be my risk. This would be my reward. And so bigger risk or bigger reward than risk. Doesn't look bad. That's the only one I'd really consider taking at this point. Doesn't look terrible. Besides, AMD's kind of a sideways trend. It's my first time here. How do you find value in stocks? It just depends, man. I mean, I have a few specific strategies that I use, like very specific strategies that I use, and so it all just depends, man. I do see this though. Like if you look at a cron here, like one thing I did notice with this is like looks like a maybe a symmetrical triangle here at first for cron. Like look at this. It wouldn't have been perfect by any means, but this upward trend line looks a lot better. Not perfect though. And then you get the breakdown. All right. Well, if anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet actually has their Christmas sale going on right now. And if you go through my link, I think it's 25% off. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 25% off through my link. And so I think it's a pretty good deal if you're interested in signing up to TradeNet. You know, you're essentially paying for like with an intro package, you're paying, in this case, 400 to get $700 in losses. To like be able to lose 700, you're only paying 400, and so really you're getting an extra $300 in leeway, to trade with. And so you get 14K in buying power. I think it's a pretty good deal. Maybe I'm biased because I post links, but that's the broker I'm using. I know somebody asked what broker am I using. I'm using TradeNet and Tefs, and so if you're interested in checking them out, I just posted the jump to click link that I clicked on. Or I just posted the jump to click link, which is the TradeNet link. And so go check it out if you have time. Cheap commissions. Commissions are like somebody mentioned it earlier, 0.0075 cents per share. And so pretty cheap, honestly, relative to what you're going to pay in a lot of other brokers. Really, if you're using small sizing, it's pretty cheap. But you can go check them out, reach out to them if you have questions. Looking at CRON here, concept of VWAP is kind of confusing. I do understand RSI and MACD. So the VWAP is just the volume weighted average price. It's like a moving average with volume taken into a consideration. The only thing that really matters about it though is there's two things. It's an intraday trend indicator, right? So it's an intraday trend indicator. So like with my strategy, I'm essentially taking advantage of like a confirmation in the intraday trend. So like if it stays down if it bounces off the VWAP and gets rejected and continues under it, then it's confirming that downward intraday trend. And so that's really what you want to understand about it. But overall, I think the only thing that matters is if other people use it as an indicator. And, I like it better than moving averages because, moving averages, you have 9, 12, 20, 50, so forth and so on. And so you kind of have to guess what everybody else is using to get the most fulfillment with that indicator. With the VWAP, there's typically just one that people follow, and so I think it has a lot more momentum with it. Right, for sure, Kane. It's kind of like a moving average with volume taken into account is what it is, basically. All right, so now with cron, if it gets up to the VWAP, it's just about what I want to do. I'll probably take it with smaller sizing. Maybe 200 shares. It's got a little bit of a smaller range than AMD did today. And so it's just about what kind of share size I want to take with cron. If it does get up there, which is a big if. SPY has just been shooting up today, though. Not really, Joel. I usually just stick to the VWAP volume, and support and resistance is usually just what I follow. But everybody's different. Everybody uses different stuff. Yeah, no worries, Joel. Yeah, I just don't know if I'm going to get that with cron today. Honestly, though, the VWAP move for AMT to get into was this one right here. Nice little rejection there. I think that would have been a tighter risk, better reward play. Isaac, I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one I'm looking at now is cron. Maybe I'll probably end up calling it a day. But if cron gets up here, I may take a small position. We'll see. I just think it has a pretty tight risk of like 73 or so. Bigger reward of about 20 cents. So I don't think that looks terrible. Yeah, man, you must be cold on the water today, bro. um, I mean, it could mean that, Isaac. I don't want to say it does because you never really know, but it could mean that. Well, you got a double top here and here on AMD, but you also have a double bottom here and here. And so it's kind of a break even, I'd say, pattern, just a consolidation, because you have the bottom here, here, and then you have the top here and here. You could consider this one a top two, I guess. And so it's just kind of break even. It's just consolidating right now, I think. Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, Joel, is that even with a cash account on Robinhood, you're going to you're going to have to wait for the T2 rule. So you're going to have to wait 2 days for your funds to settle no matter what. And so it just depends. Appreciate it, expatriated. Yeah, no stress, man. I think Mitch comes from a good place. I think that he may not know you that you've been like a long term member, and so that's all I'm saying. I think he comes from a good place. He's trying to protect the channel. You know what I mean? But like I said, you're a long time member, so I get it, man. That's what I was telling him. And so I don't think he comes from sorry, I'm stuttering. I don't think he comes from a bad place. I think he's just trying to protect the channel and maybe not know that you're a pretty long term member. You're kind of an OG in here, expatriated. PCG, what's PCG doing? Yeah, it does look like Prod's gonna give me the entry. The biggest thing from here on out is like I just have to stick with 300 shares. I can't make excuses. I just have to stick with it. Nah, Mitch is a good dude. I also understand why you were posting that expatriated, because it's like, when you get a bunch of people in here and everybody's commenting, I miss certain comments. Like I miss certain comments. I miss them for whatever reason. And so you were just trying to get me to see the comment. So I understand it for sure, expatriated. I think Mitch might have, he was just trying to protect the channel. And so I get both sides. Mitch is tardy. Mitch is at work. But yeah, it doesn't look like Kron's going to give me that entry, guys. 1160 now. Risk reward isn't that good. Look at the SPY, though. The SPY's kind of going crazy. Which one were you talking about? Expatriated DGAZ, right? Either DGAZ or UGAZ, right? Or maybe it was J and UG. Yeah, J and UG shot up. J and UG. Yeah, it pushed up really nicely. Kind of has a little flag pattern forming here a little bit, if you look at it. Bouncing off the VWAP, but you see the pole, and then you have the flag here. UXIN. Hanging on to a bad trade, hoping it goes up midday. You just gotta give yourself risk levels. I can't. I mean, even today though, I held on to AMD a little bit too long. Like since I've scaled up in sizing, there's a few things that I'm realizing that I'm doing that I wasn't doing before. One of them is I am not taking consistent share size like I want to with 300 shares. The other thing is that I'm holding on to my losses a little bit too long. And it's kind of one of those things like with AMD, I was analyzing whether I should set that $half level of 50 as my risk or that $43 resistance. And I ended up choosing 43, but then I kind of let it more closely test 40. Yes, that is exactly right. What you just texted me, Todd. So like, the way you find consistency is the way you find consistency is it's not just a consistent share size. It's analyzing the range of the stock and then using the appropriate share size with that in mind. So like, if the stock has like a big range, you know, you want to keep your risk a certain amount, right? You don't want to risk 20 cents on one trade with one share size and then 40 cents on the other with the same share size. If you're going to give yourself a 40-cent risk, which usually means the range is bigger, then you want to scale down your share size to compensate for that bigger range and bigger risk and try to make your losses about the same size. That's how you're going to find consistency. And so it's not just about the same share size, it's about analyzing the range of the stock and then using the appropriate share size relative to your average risk that you give yourself, right? And so if your average risk is $30, then you want to try to accompany that with the right share size to compensate for the range of the stock, if that makes sense, Todd. And so yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Yeah, I mean, I was right on AMD, but I was wrong still. Like, yeah, I was right about the general direction it's going and everything like that, but it squeezed up way too much for me to really want to mess with, you know? Like, my entry was here at the VWAP. This thing went way above my risk up to 1960. And so, with that in mind, I was wrong about AMD, which happens. I'm just glad we don't have a bunch of people. Like, a lot of times what you'll see is like, I'll have Green Day, Green Day, Green Day, Red Day. Everybody turns out trying to tell me I'm a terrible trader. And so it's kind of the way people are, I guess. But I'm just glad we don't have that today. All right, Kron never gave me the entry. Let me look. Like I said, 1160 entry, 1173 risk, 1140 reward. About 2 to 1, a little bit worse than 2 to 1, but not by much. Aries, are you using TEFs? Are you using TEFs? If it's saying no position, then you may have a stop loss set. Like a lot of times when it tells me that, I have a stop set. Appreciate it, Trevor. Thanks, brother. Yeah, like I said, at this point, like what you guys are watching right here with me is just you're watching the transitional period of me scaling up and sizing. It's a process that every trader, if they show consistent profits, and if you're a good enough trader, eventually you're going to have to scale up in sizing. And so, you're kind of watching that process with me. And it's a new process, and I'm just trying to get used to it. And I understood. Like the last week and a half or so, like I've said the last week and a half, like I might take bigger than normal losses. You may see me take bigger than normal losses. That's to be expected because I'm using bigger than normal sizing. And so at this point, even if I have a bad week or two, I'm just trying to get up to the sizing to where I'm comfortable with that. Once I finally do get up there, I'm a little bit safe. I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. And so it's just a transitional period for me where I'm trying to move up in sizing. And, stuff like this is to be expected. I'm just glad I've been keeping it relatively break even with the bigger sizing. Like last week was a small losing week. This week has been about a break even week. And so I'm just glad I'm keeping it relatively consistent with, even with the bigger sizing. And it's just a process. I'm kind of looking at ADIL here. I don't think it's tradable. But it's pulling back to the VWAP. Just trying to analyze where risk would be. VWAP's at 350. Risk could be at 367. So about a 17-cent risk. Whereas the reward target would be down to 330. I don't like the risk reward. Bad risk reward. About a 16-cent reward level. Really? No. It's about a 20-cent reward level, but it's only a 17-cent risk. Or it's a 17-cent risk. And so it's about 1-to-1. Really with ADIL. So for that reason, I don't like it as much. Yeah, AMD is just in a choppy day. It's just kind of crossing back and forth over the VWAP. Cron never gave me the entry that I wanted. Yeah, for sure. For what you just said, Todd, like one thing I've noticed is that it's important to avoid drawdowns in your account, right? Like with me, I'm using bigger sizing, a bigger loss is to be expected. But like what happens a lot of the time is that like you'll show good profits, you'll show consistent profits, but then your risk isn't consistent. And so it's like while you may have a really high accuracy rate, you may have more green days than red. If you're not using a consistent sizing with risk, and not a consistent sizing, but a consistent risk level, then you're going to have what it looks like where it's like green day, green day, green day, big red day, and that big red day is going to draw down your account. Even though you're a profitable trader, it's still going to draw down the account. And so it's all about keeping a consistent risk level, and if you could do that, then your trading in general will be a lot more consistent. Yeah, ROKU I'm not touching. It's just super choppy. Whenever I see a stock cross over the VWAP over and over again, it just makes me not want to trade it. What did WPN do? It was WNP, maybe? Yeah, WNP. Maybe it was WPN. What was it? WPN? What was it? Let me look. WPM was what it was. Let me look. There's the big red day I was looking for, WPM. I thought it may. It looked extended. Yeah, man, I was trying to think of it, brother. Right, exactly. Exactly, Todd. And that's kind of what gets you, So it's like the one way I analyze range on a stock, Todd, is like I just look at I can probably do it with AMD today, right? Like I just look at the high and the low of the day, And so, for instance, to analyze the range, I can look at this level and this level. And so that gives me, let's see, from 1909 or 1910 up to 1973 gives me about a 63-cent range on the day. And so it's a pretty small range. I could safely use a little bit larger sizing with AMD because the range is pretty small, even though it's a $20 stock. But like if you look at something like, Let's find a good example of this. I'm trying to think of what's a big mover from yesterday. Yeah, TLRY. Okay, I could use TLRY. But yeah, if you look at TLRY, like the range, just the range of today is from 76.50 up to 83, basically. And so that is what, a $6.50 range, 650 range, and so it's more than six times what AMD's range is. And so it's like if I take AMD with a certain shear size and a certain risk, I can't take the same with TLRY because the range is just too big. And so I'd have to give myself smaller sizing with a bigger risk, like a bigger risk area. So like say I risk 50 cents, a dollar on TLRY, I would have to substantially scale down in sizing to compensate for that. And so it's just about trying to keep it consistent. Yeah, Kron broke down. Never gave me my entry though. I wanted up here at about 1160. Just never gave it to me. I think I'm probably done for the day. I mean, I'm not seeing anything else I really like. Yeah, TLRY versus AMD. AMD what had like a 63-cent range. TLRY had like a $6 and something range. And so if you try to approach them with the same share size, you're gonna be way you're not gonna be consistent at all. I still don't hate I still don't hate Kron if it can get up there, but it's just a big if. Plus, I'm going out of town today, and so I'll be streaming from my hotel tomorrow. Hopefully, the counter for viewers is fixed by tomorrow. I know you like shorts. I know this, but I'm gonna get you going long today because it's Wednesday. Everybody see my Friday reference? What's up, Casey? What's up, brother? All right, guys. I'm not seeing too much I really like today. Took a shot with AMD, failed, and so just kind of looking. Maybe if Kron can get up there to that 1160 level, I'll consider it. But I don't know. Yeah. No, I didn't jump in too early, Casey. I held too long was my problem. Like, I held it way too long. I gave myself a risk of 1943, and I ended up holding it to like 1948, 1949. I mean, it's not a huge loss relative to the 300 shares I'm using. And so it's just about my big problem today was just holding it a little bit too long. But I don't think it was a bad trade idea. I think it was okay. Maybe a little risky considering the SPY has been up so much today. But at the same time, it looked to be in a downward trend at the open, regardless of what the SPY was doing. So I don't hate it. It's just one of those days. You know, everybody has losing days. I'm just about trying to keep them as consistent and low as possible. Like I said, about break even on the week. I'm up about 60 on the week. Maybe not 60. I'm up about 50 on the week. And so about break even. Not super upset about it or anything. Just gotta fix those holes in my game. Continue improving. That's all I can do. Yep. Hey, baby, you want to be on the stream? Come talk to everybody. Say something. Hey, my wife's here, everybody. You want to say hey to her?
Hey, how's it going?
She's nervous about being on the stream.
I just don't remember.
Everybody make fun of her right now. You know? That's all you're saying?
I don't know what to say. I don't know about any of this stuff here, so.
Everybody make fun of her. Make her feel really insecure. All right, I'm just joking.
Are you almost ready?
Look.
Your husband is horrible. That's true.
Very true. Yeah. I'm a terrible husband, really, you know. All right.
Are you almost ready?
Yeah. Yeah, give me like 5-10 more minutes.
All
right, she waved bye to you.
Bye.
No, she's cool. That's right, Jason. I am, man. I won't fight you there, bro. Appreciate it, Enduro. You as well, man. You as well. Hey, I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll stream tomorrow and Friday. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, I feel like I'm pretty blessed. I feel like I have a really good life. You know, I can't complain. Uh-oh, ESPN going off on my phone. Yeah, she's a cool chick. You know, believe it or not, she actually used to play Halo with me. Like, she would literally play Xbox with me, like, online, you know, and, like, curse out people with me. And it was great. She stopped once my son was born. She doesn't play with me anymore, but... Yeah, for sure. I will, Trevor. No stress, man. Sorry, brother. Like, listen, Trevor, you kind of caught me in, like, the busiest time of the year, you know? Like, for instance, Friday I left. I went out to, Friday I left and went out to, I went out to a wedding out of town, and so I literally drove out of state Friday, came back Sunday, and now we're leaving again today to go back out of town. And so it's just been kind of hectic, Trevor, but I'll try to post some of your stuff before I head out. She's already for it. I mean, she's already for it, you know. She supports it. At first she didn't, which I think most wives don't. You know, I think most wives aren't going to support your trading at first. They think it's gambling or whatever. But once she sees kind of the community I built over here and everything like that, like she's pretty supportive of it. At this point, only one I'm really looking at is Kron. If it gets up to 1160, I'll consider it with, I don't know. I want to do 73 risk. So let's see if there's a better area. No, I think 73 is pretty good risk for Kron. If it can get up there. You know, like look, it's confirmed that 73 level numerous times. About 2 years drive. About 2 years or so. If you watch my really old videos, you could see how terrible I was as a trader. Like if you go back on my channel and look at the videos from like 2016 when I was trading on SureTrader, I had no idea what I was doing. And so it's been a process. I've kind of grown along with the channel. AMD, spike it up. At this point, I'm just looking to see if it gets rejected here at 35, 36, risk of 47. 10 cents, reward of 14. And so, good risk reward. Later, Netron. Have a good day, brother. All right, Isaac. Have a good day, brother.
Maddie, come here. Y'all need to get dressed. Y'all need to get y'all's clothes on for the trip. You just want like some sweatpants?
Oh, also, shout out to Trade Ideas. If you're wondering what scanners I have here on the left side, I'm using Trade Ideas. Cool enough company. Actually allows me to stream my scans every day. And so go check out Trade Ideas. Really makes my mornings easier. It allows me to see a lot of good up-to-date info in the market. The great thing about Trade Ideas is that it's super up-to-date. You know, like you're getting the info almost as quick as it's out there. And so really enjoy using Trade Ideas. Cool enough company, really chill. Makes my mornings much easier. So go check them out. I just posted that link. Yeah, OSTK, maybe a bounce there, brother. You can see it here. I like it because, you know, the reason I like bounces like this, right, is because you have this previous low right here that you can use as your risk, right? You have the low of this move, maybe a little bit lower than this actually, maybe right here. So you have that low that you can use as your risk and base this bounce off of this low, right? So if it breaks this low, you can get out, but if it bounces here, it's got a pretty big reward level, so super tight risk, big reward. That's the bounces I like, where it puts in a previous little mini dip right here where I can use this low as my risk and then get in here for that bounce up. I know, it's my fault, Todd. It's my fault, brother. I do, man. I hate long people. You know, longs are the enemy to me. I'm a short trader. But yeah, at this point, not seeing too much really interested in taking. Like I said, maybe if Kron gets up to 1160 or so with the risk of that 1173 area that it confirmed numerous times, I don't hate it. But At the same time, for Cron to get up there, it would have to break this low right here, or this high right here at 1154. And if it breaks that, it may get some more momentum. It also might have some resistance, though, at 60. But I think 73 is probably the safer exit. It's just about where I could set my risk, which would be from about 60 to 73, maybe 57, 58 to 73 for 15 cents. And then a reward level down here at 1135 or so. And so it would be from 1160 to 1135, which would be 25-cent reward. Risk would be about 15 cents. And so not quite 2 to 1, but not bad risk reward on that trade with Cron. It's just about whether it can actually get up there or not. It's kind of what I'm looking at. But yeah, probably got to close it down here, fellas. So good luck for the rest of the day. And go check out TradeNet. Like I said, TradeNet has their sale going on right now where if you go through my link, I think it's 25% off. It may just be 20. But, pretty cheap sale. And like I said, if you pay for a package, you're paying for it. It's not a deposit. But that's the broker I'm using. And so if you're interested in checking out TradeNet, which is the broker I'm using in Tefts, you can go check them out and get a pretty good deal going through my link. Like I said, with the intro package, you spend, with my link at least, you spend $400 with a $700 max loss, and so you're getting an extra $300 in leeway. And so I don't think it's a bad deal. I think really TradeNet shines with helping new traders learn how to trade. I think that you can take small sizing with cheap commissions with small sizing and really learn how to trade the market. To where if you go to another broker like SureTrader or something like that, then your commissions are going to be high, platform fees are going to be high, and it's going to be really tough. And so I think it's a good way to learn, at least as a trader. And so you can go check out my link. I posted it. It's the jump to click link. And with all that said, that's probably it. Still watching Cron. If it gets up there, maybe I'll record it. But I'm actually about to leave to go out of town and make a big road trip here. And so I don't know if I'll actually have time to take it. But took a loss today. First losing day of the week. About a break-even week so far. And so not terrible. Just got to continue using that consistent share size. Get out at my exit. I need to get out when I give myself a risk. I need to follow it. Biggest mistake I made today for sure. But no stress. About a break-even week. Definitely in a transitional period of trying to scale up in sizing. And so we'll see how that goes. But good luck for the rest of the day, all. Trevor, I'll email you back, brother. But good luck for the rest of the day, all. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time. So have a good day.